I was sitting at my kitchen table, scrolling through my phone with a cup of coffee growing cold in my hand. When I saw it, the notification popped up. Sarah tagged you in a video, Sarah. My sister-in-law, I clicked it without thinking, expecting to see the usual holiday montage she posted every year. You know, the kind twinkling lights, matching pajamas, kids opening presents with those perfect squeals of delight. But as the video started playing, my stomach dropped. There was my husband Mark's entire family, his parents laughing by the tree, his brother Tom tossing a football with his kids in the backyard, Sarah's children making snow angels. Even Mark was there, smiling that big, genuine smile I hadn't seen in weeks. The whole family, everyone except my daughter. Emma, I watched it 3 times, my hand shaking more with each replay. I kept thinking I missed her. Maybe she was in the background somewhere. Maybe there was a quick shot I didn't catch. But no. 43 minutes of Christmas footage, and my 9-year-old daughter had been completely erased, like she didn't exist, like she wasn't there at all, except she was there. I remembered that day perfectly. It was Christmas Eve. Just 2 weeks ago, let me back up. I need you to understand how we got here. My name is Rachel, and I've been married to Mark for 11 years. We have 1 daughter, Emma, who just turned 9 in November. She's this bright, curious little girl with strawberry blonde hair and freckles across her nose. She asks a million questions, loves drawing elaborate fantasy worlds in her notebook, and has this laugh that sounds like bells. I know every parent thinks their kid is special, but Emma really is. At least, she's always been special to me, Mark, and I met in college. He was the steady, reliable type. The kind of man who shows up when he says he will, who remembers your coffee order, who holds doors open for strangers. His family seemed wonderful at first, warm, close-knit. The Harrisons were the kind of family that gathered every Sunday for dinner, that had decades-old traditions, that finished each other's sentences. I didn't grow up with that. My parents divorced when I was 6, and holidays were always this awkward shuffle between houses. So when I married into the Harrison family, I thought I'd finally found what I'd been missing, a real family roots. Belonging Emma was born a year after our wedding, and for a while, everything seemed perfect. Mark's mother, Patricia, would come over twice a week to help with the baby. His father, George, built Emma a dollhouse from scratch when she turned 3. We were folded into the Harrison traditions seamlessly, the 4th of July barbecues, the Thanksgiving football games, the elaborate Christmas celebrations, but things started changing when Emma was around 5. It was small stuff at first, comments. That felt just slightly off. Patricia mentioning how Emma was so different from the other grandchildren, Sarah making jokes about Emma being quirky in a tone that didn't quite sound affectionate. Tom's kids, who were close to Emma's age, gradually stopped inviting her to play during family gatherings. Mark would brush it off whenever I brought it up. You're reading too much into it. He'd say, that's just how they are. They don't mean anything by it, but I'm a mother. I notice things I see when my daughter is sitting alone at a family party while her cousins whisper and giggle in the other room. I hear the change in someone's voice when they say her name. I feel the temperature drop when she walks into a room. By the time Emma was 7, she'd stopped asking to go to her grandparents' house. They don't really like me there. She told me one night while I was tucking her in, I think I make them tired. My heart broke. That's not true. Sweetie, I said, stroking her hair. They love you. But even as I said it, I wondered if I was lying. The real trouble started this past summer. Mark's parents celebrated their 40th wedding anniversary with a big party at their house. It was beautiful, white tents in the backyard, catered food, a slideshow of family photos playing on a projector. Emma wore her favorite dress, the blue one with the white flowers. She'd been so excited, had practiced a little speech to read to her grandparents. But when she approached Patricia to ask when she could share it, I watched my mother-in-law's face tighten. Not now, Emma, she said, not even looking at her. We have a schedule. Emma waited all evening. The schedule never seemed to have room for her. What made it worse was watching Tom's youngest daughter, Lily, get pulled up to say something impromptu. She was 7 at the time, forgot half her words, and everyone thought it was adorable. Patricia hugged her so tight, George had tears in his eyes. Emma saw it too. I watched her face, watched her process that there was time for Lily, but not for her. She didn't say anything. She just walked inside the house and sat in the bathroom for 20 minutes. When I finally found her, her speech was crumpled in her hand. I don't think they wanted to hear it anyway, she said quietly. That night, I confronted Mark. We had our first real fight about his family. They're treating Emma differently. I said, "You have to see it." "They're not treating her differently," Mark said. "Defensive Emma's just sensitive. She takes things personally. She's 7. Mark. And your mother literally ignored her. My mother had 100 people to deal with that night. You're making this into something it's not, but it was something. I knew it in my bones. Things got progressively worse, Emma. Stopped being included in cousin activities when Tom's family went to the zoo. They didn't invite her when Sarah took all the kids to a movie. Emma didn't get a call. Mark insisted I was being paranoid. That Emma was just getting older, and the kids were naturally forming their own friend groups. But 9-year-olds don't naturally exclude their cousin unless someone teaches them to the week before Christmas. Patricia called to confirm we were coming to Christmas Eve dinner. Of course, I said we wouldn't miss it. There was a pause. Then she said something that made my blood run cold. "Rachel, dear, I wanted to talk to you about something. It's about Emma." My grip tightened on the phone. "What about her?" Another pause. "Well, you know how we do the family video every year? Sarah puts together this beautiful montage, and everyone just loves it. But this year, well, George and I have been talking, and we've decided it might be best if Emma wasn't in it." I couldn't breathe. "I'm sorry. What?" "Now don't get upset," Patricia said quickly. "It's just that Emma can be a bit difficult to work with. She doesn't always smile on cue, and she's not as photogenic as the other children. We want the video to be perfect this year, and not photogenic." My voice was shaking. "Patricia, she's 9 years old. She's your granddaughter, technically," Patricia said, and that one word hung in the air like poison. "Technically, yes. But Rachel, you have to understand the other children. They're ours. They have the Harrison look, the Harrison way about them Emma takes after your side, and that's fine. But for the family video I hung up, I sat there in my kitchen, shaking with rage and disbelief. When Mark came home, I told him everything for the first time. I watched something shift in his face, like he was finally seeing it. "She didn't say that," he said, but his voice was uncertain. "Call her, ask her yourself." He did. I watched him. Watched his face go pale. Watched him say, "But Mom, and that's not." And finally just, "I need to go." When he hung up, he looked at me. She said she was just trying to make the video cohesive, that it wasn't personal, not personal. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. They're erasing our daughter from the family record. How is that not personal? "I'll talk to her." Mark said, "I'll fix this," but he didn't fix it, because we still went to Christmas Eve. Mark convinced me that he'd sorted it out, that his mother understood now, that everything would be fine. I should have trusted my instincts and stayed home. But I wanted Emma to have a normal Christmas with her family. I wanted to believe it could still be okay. Christmas Eve was a nightmare disguised as a celebration. Emma was so excited when we arrived. She'd made homemade cards for everyone, had wrapped them in paper she'd decorated herself. She handed them out as soon as we walked in. Her face glowing with hope, Patricia took hers with a thin smile. "How sweet," she said, and set it on the counter without opening it. I watched Emma's face fall, just a little. The evening progressed with that same cold undercurrent. Dinner was loud and chaotic, but Emma sat quietly at the kids' table, picking at her food while her cousins laughed and played around her. I noticed Sarah filming everything with her phone, the kids playing games, opening stockings, decorating cookies. Every time Emma was in the frame, Sarah would lower the phone, wait for her to move, then start filming again. I saw it. Mark saw it too. I could tell by the way his jaw clenched after dinner. All the kids gathered by the tree for the official family photo. This was the big tradition, everyone in matching red and white, 3 generations crammed together. George in his Santa hat making everyone laugh. Okay, kids up front, Sarah called. Phone ready. Emma started to move forward. Tom's hand landed on her shoulder. Actually, Em, why don't you stand over there? He pointed to the side, completely out of frame. Why? Emma asked, confused, just for this one, okay? We're trying to get a certain look. I stood up. Emma belongs in the photo. The room went silent. Everyone turned to look at me. Patricia spoke first. Rachel, please don't make a scene. I'm not making a scene. My daughter is part of this family, and she's going to be in the family photo. She can be in some photos, Patricia said carefully. Just not the main ones. We've decided. My voice was rising. Who's we? Because I'm her mother, and I didn't decide anything. George cleared his throat. Rachel, you're a guest in our home. We're allowed to take whatever photos we want. A guest. After 11 years. I was a guest, and worse so was my daughter. Mark finally stood up. Dad, that's enough. Don't you start, George said, pointing at him. We've been tiptoeing around this for years. That child is not our blood. She doesn't look like us. She doesn't act like us. And quite frankly, we're tired of pretending. The room was dead silent. Emma stood frozen by the tree, tears streaming down her face. What are you talking about? I said, my voice barely a whisper. Not your blood? She's Mark's daughter, Patricia, and George exchanged a look. A long, significant look. Then Patricia said, Is she? Everything stopped. The air, my heart. Time itself. Mark's face went white. Mom, what are you saying? I'm saying, Patricia said slowly, that Emma doesn't look anything like you. She doesn't look like anyone in our family. And we've all wondered. Mark, we've all had our doubts. I felt like I was going to be sick. You think I cheated? You think Emma isn't Mark's? We're not accusing anyone of anything, Tom said quickly. We're just saying there are questions. There are no questions, Mark said, his voice like thunder. Emma is my daughter. I was there when she was born. I've been her father every single day of her life. But you never did a paternity test, did you? Sarah said quietly. The room spun. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Couldn't believe this was happening. Emma broke the silence. Daddy? Her voice was so small. Am I not yours? Mark crossed the room in 3 steps and scooped her up. You are mine, he said fiercely. You are mine. And don't you ever doubt that I found my voice. We're leaving, Emma. Get your coat, Rachel. Wait. Patricia started. I turned to face her. You don't get to do this. You don't get to spend 9 years excluding my daughter, making her feel unwanted and unloved, and then throw out an accusation like that to justify your cruelty. You want to know why Emma doesn't look like you? Because genetics are random. Because she happened to get my coloring and my features. But she has Mark's smile. She has your husband's laugh. She has your stubbornness. Patricia, we have every right to you have no rights, I said. You gave those up the moment you decided my 9-year-old wasn't family. Stay away from us. Stay away from my daughter. We left. Emma cried the whole way home. Mark drove in silence, his knuckles white on the steering wheel that night, after Emma finally cried herself to sleep. Mark and I sat in our living room, just sat there in the dark. I need to apologize to you. Mark finally said, you've been telling me for years that something was wrong. And I didn't listen. I didn't protect her. I didn't protect either of you. They're your family, I said softly. You're my family, he corrected. You and Emma. That's my family the next morning. Mark scheduled a paternity test. Not because he had doubts, he was adamant about that, but because he wanted to be able to show his family proof. Wanted to shut down their poison once and for all. Got the results 4 days later. 999% probability that Mark was Emma's biological father. Of course, Mark sent a copy to his parents with a single message. Emma is my daughter. She has always been my daughter. You owe her an apology. They never responded. And then, 2 weeks later, I saw the video, the Christmas montage, with my daughter edited out of existence, 43 minutes of family memories. And she was a ghost, I showed Mark. We watched it together. Sitting at that same kitchen table where I'd first seen it when it ended, he pulled out his phone and started typing. What are you doing? I asked, writing them a message, Mark. They've made it clear how they feel, I know, he said, but they need to hear how I feel. He showed me what he wrote. To my family, I watched the Christmas video you posted. I saw that you removed my daughter from every single shot. I need you to understand something. When you erased Emma, you erased me too. She is not separate from me. She is not less than your other grandchildren. She is not an outsider. She is my daughter. And she is a Harrison. Whether you choose to see it or not, you've spent years making her feel unwanted, making her feel like she doesn't belong, and I stood by and let it happen. Because I wanted to keep the peace. I wanted to believe you were better than this. I was wrong. I won't sacrifice my daughter for your approval anymore. Emma deserves to be surrounded by people who love her unconditionally, who celebrate her exactly as she is, who include her without hesitation. That's not you. That's not who you've been to her, so we're done. Don't call, don't visit. Don't send gifts or cards. You made your choice when you edited my daughter out of the family video. Now I'm making mine goodbye. He hit send. Then he blocked his parents' numbers. Blocked Tom and Sarah too. Are you sure? I asked him. I've never been more sure of anything. He said, except marrying you and having Emma. That was 3 months ago. It's been quiet since then. Strange. Sometimes painful. Mark struggles with it. He loved his family, despite everything, but he loves Emma more. He's been going to therapy. Working through it, Emma is healing too slowly. She still has nightmares sometimes about that Christmas Eve. Still asks questions we don't always know how to answer, but she started smiling more. Started drawing again. Started believing that she's enough. Exactly as she is, we made our own video for Christmas this year. Just the 3 of us. It's not professionally edited. There are shaky camera angles and moments where we're all laughing too hard to even see the lens. Emma is in every single frame. Bright and beautiful in ours. That's the video I watch when I need to remember what family actually means. I've learned something through all of this. Family isn't just about blood or biology or who you share DNA with. It's not about matching photos or maintaining appearances or upholding traditions at any cost. Family is about showing up. It's about choosing each other. Every single day. It's about making room at the table and in the frame and in your heart for the people you love, not because they look like you or act like you or fit perfectly into your expectations, but because they're yours. Emma is ours. She always has been, and anyone who can't see how precious she is, they're the ones missing out. They're the ones who've lost something they'll never get back. I just hope that one day, when Emma is older and looks back on this chapter of her life, she doesn't remember the rejection. I hope she remembers that her father chose her, that I fought for her, that we built a family around her that was real and true and unshakable. The Harrisons got their perfect Christmas video, polished and coordinated and carefully curated. But it's a lie. There's a 9-year-old girl missing from those frames, and her absence makes the whole thing hollow. We have something better. We have the truth. We have each other. And that's all the family we need.